Hello, and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. It's just me in the introduction today, but we're going to jump right into Angelica, which is an herb of the sun. And that's where we're firmly rooted, is right in the herbs of the sun. And we're going to join Raven, who is going to lead us on an exciting adventure through Angelica. So let's just get cooking.
So we're going to talk about Angelica today. I do want to note also, my go-to herb, as the ladies know, is usually calendula. We have covered calendula in a different video, so I'm not going to redo it, but
I'll put a little
that's
link
my,
to that video. There'll be a
oh
little
yeah, cool,
link right
perfect.
now, and there's a perfect space for it in your slide to put a
Yeah,
little link. I have like it's in the YouTube, so you can just click on that if you would like to see our thing on calendula.
awesome. I do love calendula so much, but Angelica is also another great one. There's a lot of sun herbs and plants. Calendula is just kind of like my favorite. I have a personal connection to it, but Angelica is also beautiful, and there's a lot of other really great herbs associated with the sun.
We also did
Now,
chamomile too, and another time we did
yes.
chamomile, which is another big sun plant or herb. And so
Yeah.
the ones we were gonna do were aside from those two.
Yes. No repeats so far. So Latin name is Angelica Archangelica. There's a lot of different Angelica like plants as and like under the name of Angelica, but we're going with Archangelica. So folk names, garden Angelica, root of the Holy Ghost, herb of the angels, masterwort or archangel. Now parts used, roots, leaves, seeds, and shoots. Mostly it's the roots. When we're talking about Angelica, it's mostly the roots. That's usually if you go to like an herbal store or like boutique or order herbs online, oftentimes the root is going to be where you will find, but you can also use these other aspects as well. So stems and seeds are usually used for confectionery, so like baking, and then also for flavoring in like, sorry, I'm dropping all my markers over here. Also used in flavoring liquors, so it's like the used for flavoring. The dried leaves are used in hot bitters, and then also if you're going to make a poultice out of Angelica, they suggest using the dried leaves. The whole plant though is like very aromatic. It smells amazing. But usually in medicinal practices, again, we use the root. Now it looks very similar to a lot of other plants. It kind of looks like giant hogweed, although giant hogweed is much bigger typically, hence the name giant hogweed. Oh, this got cut off. This is cow parsnip. This is Queen Anne's lace, and then this is Angelica. It also can potentially look like hemlock, which I don't have a picture, but they all look a little similar. Now, I do kind of want to show you just real quick the differences between, so these pictures are for cow parsnip. Oh wait, no, that's not cow parsnip. That is, I think it got cut off. What is that one? Oh yeah, giant hogweed, that's right. So the top ones are giant hogweed and then cow parsnip down, giant hogweed, Angelica, cow parsnip. Wait,
I know it's because they just went over the top of each other. It's like
oh, okay. There we go. All right.
There you
We'll
are.
just move them over a bit. There we go. Okay, so giant hogweed is on top. Now, giant hogweed is very big. We have talked about giant hogweed
We have.
before. Also, the stem is like has a lot of purple blotchiness. Cow parsnip, I think we've also mentioned that before. Stems and leaves are going to be a little bit different. And then with Angelica, again, stems and leaves are going to be kind of like the easiest to identify, I think. But if you are not comfortable, do not wild forage it just in case it's like hemlock or giant hogweed can also cause like skin irritation and stuff. So just get it online.
Yeah, don't.
I wouldn't risk it.
Do not risk that. There's like so many things that are in that category. Geez.
There's so many. Yeah.
You could really get screwed up. Okay. Really.
I feel like that's the same. There's some herbs that I am like totally comfortable wild foraging, like dandelion, you know, like some of them, but there's some that I'm not as attuned to, like a lot of mushrooms. I'm not comfortable with a lot of mushrooms, so I'm not going to go wild forage them and eat them. Just because of
Chamomile, sage, just because I can
chamomile.
smell them. Like once you can
Yeah,
smell them,
those
you're
are
like,
great
oh,
ones.
that's a ground apple. I know
Yeah,
what that
yeah.
is.
Mustard seed, you know, but
Exactly.
there's still a handful that I'm like, I don't know.
Exactly. Plantain are
um,
usually pretty, and you know what? There's some
yeah.
around here, like Yerba Santa has got a pretty distinct look
Mm,
about it. There's or Yerba
yeah.
Mansa, maybe. Yeah, Yerba Mansa. That's what it is.
Mm,
Has a very
borage is also a
exactly.
good
There's some that are
one.
pretty distinct looking to forage,
Yeah.
but anything that's in this category should probably
Yeah.
be avoided like the plague. You don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
Seriously.
know.
Okay. So in a lot of different places. So, like Pomerania, East Prussia, a lot of places around that in summer, in early summer, it's custom for the people of these areas to march into town carrying Angelica flower stems. So, like the stems and the flowers, and then sell them. And while they march, they chant some chant that's in ancient Lettish. I think that's how you say that, Lettish, which is Latvian.
Mhm.
And the chant has been passed down orally. And so most of the people who still do this chant, they don't even really understand what the chant is saying or what they mean. They kind of just like mumble it out because it's been done so long and just passed down orally that the translation has been lost. But they still do it. They learn the chants, or you know, everybody's going to have a slightly different version of the chant, but they learn them as children, and so they grow up walking into town selling these angelica stems and flowers, chanting this chant.
Mm.
What else? Oh, and it's believed that this whole kind of process started as some festival tied into summer solstice. We're not really sure, but that's kind of what I've been finding a lot online is we're not sure, but we think that it's kind of leftover paganism of summer solstice festivals.
You think?
Yay.
That's actually gonna that comes up because the sun and summer solstice. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very tied together. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
Because it's the yes.
Yes. So then we have, after the introduction of Christianity, it became associated with angels and springtime festival of the Annunciation. Is that how you say that? Do you know?
Annunciation.
Annunciation, which
Yes.
was essentially that makes sense, which was the announcement made by the Archangel Gabriel to Mary that she would conceive and bury Jesus Christ. So it's tied to that once we look at it through the lens of Christianity. Now, according to the legend, Angelica was revealed in a dream by an angel to cure the plague. So an angel came down to, I think it was a priest, and whispered in the priest's ear that he should use the Angelica plant to help cure like the plague. And this came to him in a dream. And so the plant didn't have a name at that point, but the angel described it. And so then that priest named the plant Angelica after like angel and angelic. Another name lore is that the name of the plant is such because it blooms on Michael the Archangel's Day, which is May 8th. And it's also supposedly used to like preserve against evil spirits, witchcraft, which we'll talk about later. But that could be a second reason why we have the name Angelica. And then the third like lore about the name is just that it comes from the Greek archangelos, which is tied to archangel, meaning messenger, because it's supposed to be like a messenger. And we'll talk about its use in divination and stuff later. Oh yes. So then in Lapland, which is like a area in Finland, garlands of Angelica were given to poets to wear because it's believed that these garlands would help strike inspiration for poetry. And then Norwegians use the root to create bread from it. They would like dry it and then like grind it and powder it. Oh, I gotta plug in my computer. Hold on.
I see that.
And use that to make bread.
Run.
I know. Luckily, it's right here. There we go. Then we have the French used it to create liqueurs, including chartreuse.
Oh.
And then so Angelica has been used for a plague, as we mentioned before, and it was used for the plague for quite a bit of time until the time of King Charles II, and then King of England, Scotland, and Ireland. So like around that time. So it was used quite a bit for the plague. Then we have the Danes, which are people from Denmark. The Danes were among the first to make candied Angelica. So it was used as like a candy. Angelica has, I don't really get this taste from it, but it's said that it has kind of a licorice-y vibe, licorice-y taste. I do get the sweetness. I don't know about licorice, but it's supposed to taste like licorice. And so it was candied as, it was like, you know, sugared, like candied with sugar, and then sold as candy. And what else? Oh, it was believed that this candied Angelica it tasted good, but it was also used for relieving gas and also strengthening the stomach. So it would be used like before eating oftentimes. And this is the second most popular candied object after candied ginger. Then we have the Sami people of Scandinavia. They use the stems to make this reed instrument called the fando, which looks like this. Here's two of them. That's pen for scale. So it's pretty cool musical instrument. I forgot I was gonna find a video to play us the sound, but I forgot to do that. It's very like a light, very reed instrument sounding. It's nice. And then also so Angelica was pretty popular in Scandinavia in general, but especially in the Sami people for cooking. And the herb was known as kvanne. So then we go to medicinal stuff. So the Chinese have been using Angelica for a long time, about 4,000 years. They mostly use it for flavoring in their foods and a little bit of medicinal purposes, but quite often for flavoring. Now, if you see Chinese Angelica, that is different. That's not Angelica Archangelica. That is typically going to be called Angelica sensis, which is dong quai, also known as female ginseng. Yes. Dong quai.
I like dong quai.
I do too. I still have a big old jar of it.
We better make sure we do dong quai for something. We'll try to figure it in. So
yeah.
I'll keep it on my radar.
Yeah. I know. I was thinking I need to go through my herbal cabinet and I want to like pull out the ones that I use less often so that I can like look into those a little bit more.
Exactly. Have them on my radar.
Yes. Okay. So carminative, stimulant, diaphoretic, stomachic, tonic, and expectorant. Now, these qualities are found throughout the whole plant, but it's strongest in like the fruit. But again, we usually use the root. I'm not exactly sure why we use the root more often. Maybe because it's just more shelf stable. I'm not sure, but we find these qualities strongest in the fruit typically. Do you know why we use the root mostly?
I don't know.
Yeah, neither.
Probably. Well, I'm trying to think. It's probably is more difficult to dry and keep the fruit. I would assume any fruit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's not going to like hold as long, I think, even if it's dried compared to root. Yeah. So it's a good remedy for colds, coughs, pleurisy, gas, colic, yield, rheumatism cure, and then any diseases associated with urinary organs, so like the bladders and things like that. It should not be taken if you have diabetes because it does give you a spike in sugar. It has been smoked for a long time by tribes based in Missouri, like indigenous people based in Missouri lands. They would smoke it for colds and respiratory ailments. And then in Alaska, they would boil the roots and apply it externally to speed up healing. And they would also boil it and then take it internally. Usually they would do both. So they would like consume it and then apply it as like a poultice. This is really the only instance that I saw in writing of people using the roots for a poultice. Most people have talked about the leaves, but the whole plant has very similar properties. So either way. So magically, the associations are sun, planet, the heart chakra, element fire, sign Leo. And then I did find one place that said Cancer for the sign. I don't know. I mean, I could see it as Cancer for like the nutritive properties, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Perhaps. Yes.
Maybe. Everything else is very fiery, and Cancerians are not fiery at all.
No.
From experience.
In fact, like exactly, that seems a little it seems like two magnets being pushed together.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. So a couple things. Protective. It's almost everywhere that I looked at magical uses, protective qualities was a big one, which I kind of like because I see sun energy as very like protective because it can like burn things away, right? You're burning away the things that you don't need or don't want. So a lot of protection, which I like. It said that if it grows around a building, it creates like an anti-sorcery barrier. I like to just kind of reword that into like protection, getting rid of bad energies, like that kind of stuff.
And maybe this is why it's Cancer, like a protective little shell.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't let anything in. Yeah, honestly. So then you can use it, you can add it to your bath, which you know I'm a big fan of. I've said this before, I will say it again. I love putting herbs and plants in my bath, but I don't put them loose because it's just a pain in the ass to clean up. So I get like a cheesecloth or just a big reusable tea bag and then throw all my goodies, my crystals and my herbs and all that stuff in there. What else? You can dry or burn the dried root as incense to help meditation and bring in like visions. It's also heavily tied to divinations, but specifically divinations about a future event. A lot of places were specific about that. I'm not sure why this distinction, but they would say like it's not for like looking into like it's not for gaining insight into things happening now. It's used to gain insight about things happening in the future. I'm not sure again why that's so specific, but everything that I found online says future, not current. And then you can also, if you take a fresh Angelica plant and you break the stem, there's some like milky substance that comes out of it, and you can use that in like spell work and workings to help comfort the heart because it is tied to the heart chakra. So you can use it to like mend broken hearts, to maybe just connect more to your own heart chakra, self-love. Love is love. And anytime I'm working with a heart, it's all going to be like the same energy, whether it's romantically or platonically or for the self. I think love is love. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Woohoo! Yay. Okay. Stop your share. And we are back.
Oh, I did want to say real quick too. I didn't specify, I guess, exactly with the sun, but again, the associations that I make with the sun is it burning stuff away. And so we saw that they would use it for like the plague. And I also associate the sun with health, right? Vitality and health. And so I like it for that, like warming, healthy, burning all the bad shit, like all the stuff that you don't want, whether it's protection and warding or like illness. And so that's why I like it for the sun.
Yay, I love it. Thank you so much. That's so rad. Excellent. Perfect. And we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.